everyone, welcome back and welcome to day 7 in my 12 days of palettes series. Today's palette will not be a surprise if you watch my videos frequently. This is probably my favorite palette of all time. Something about it. I just love it, and it's by Patrick Ta. It's the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. I've talked about this palette and I just love it. I love everything about it. So I wanted to definitely use it in my 12 days of palettes series. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am posting every day in December, and right now I'm doing my 12 days of palettes. Each day we're focusing on a new eyeshadow palette, and today is the Patrick Ta palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed through my face makeup and then we'll move on to the eyeshadow. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the palette, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but I do know I wanna use the creams today. So if you're not familiar with the palette, it has this little flap down here. It's all really reflective. It's hard to hold it. And there's a lighter cream and a darker cream. And the last few times I've used this palette, I have not used the creams. So I wanted to use those today. All right, so I'm gonna go into the lightest one, or the lighter one of the two. And I'm gonna apply that really kind of all over, not all the way down on the lid, but kind of further down than I normally would. And even kind of try to bring it in a little bit. And they're very, very pigmented, as you can see. So if you get too much, you can always take a different brush and kind of try to diffuse it out a little bit. So I'm really just going to use this as a base, and then we'll go in with some powders on top. All right, now we're gonna go into probably my favorite shade in this palette, which is this one. It's called Transition, and it is just that. It's like the perfect neutral transition. It's not super warm or super cool. It's the perfect crease shade, in my opinion. So I'm actually going to kind of drag this, or I'm going to put this in the crease, but then I'm also going to kind of go over my eyelid with it as well. I'm not getting much product down here, but I'm just kind of taking what's left on the brush and bringing it down just a little bit. I'm going to take the white shade up here. So this shade, these two shades are kind of topper shades, and they're both really, really pretty. So that's the white one, and that's the pink one. They're both gorgeous, but I'm actually going to take the white one, and I'm going to pop this really just right in the center of the lid and kind of tap it up into the crease. And we might even do a little bit of the pink as well. Yeah, I think we will, since I have it on my finger here. Look at these topper shades. Like, Oh, I love it so much. We may go back in and add a little bit more later, but for now I'm gonna go into, I think I'm gonna mix this shade, which is kind of a peachier brown, and the dark brown. So this one and this one. And I'm gonna use a small outer corner brush and apply those there. I mean, did you see how easily those applied? I barely even blended anything with my brush. They just, I don't know how he did it, but the formula on these is just so good. It is so good. And then I'll take my larger fluffy brush we used a few minutes ago and just kind of lightly tap over all the edges to make sure it's blended. Something else that's nice about the cream shades in this palette is that's a really good way if you're worried about your eyeshadow like lasting for a long period of time, when you layer a cream shadow and then do a powder shadow on top, and I had eye primer underneath also, that is really going to guarantee your eye makeup lasts on your eyes. I'm going to take a little bit of this shade that I also love. So it's kind of an off-white, and it looks like it would be a matte, but it has a little bit of shimmer to it. It's very, very interesting. And I'm actually going to put just a little bit of that. I don't know if you can see, it has a little bit of shimmer to it. Right here where my arch is. Okay, now I'm gonna try to use the cream in the darker color as liner and try to do a wing with it with a small angled brush. I have not tried this before. And then I'll probably go over it with the powdered dark brown shadow in the palette. But I'm gonna do my newest like wing technique where I go basically straight out. When my eye starts to go down, that's where I go straight out. I go over this little fold, and then I start from the bottom and connect it up, and you get the wing shape. And it works. This has been working really, really well for me. Definitely does take a little bit of practice though. But ever since I started doing my wings this way, I feel like it's gotten a lot easier, believe it or not. And wings are definitely not easy. So I just kind of draw my shape and then fill it in. All right, now I'm gonna take the dark brown powder, which is down here. I'm gonna use this really tiny Real Techniques brush, which is, it's called the accent brush. And sadly, I don't think you can get this brush anymore. I got mine a long time ago, and now every time I try to find it to link it anywhere, it doesn't come up. So I assume they discontinued it, which is unfortunate because it's the perfect size to get in small areas in your eye, under your eye, or on your eye, I mean. So I'm basically just kind of tapping this at the very base of the lashes, just kind of setting that wing in place. All right, so I'm gonna try to do the other eye. My left eye is always more difficult for me for some reason than my right eye. All right, for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go into the transition shade again. And I'm gonna take this all the way across. And then I'm gonna go into the dark brown again. And I'm just gonna apply like the tiniest bit of this in the outer half and kind of try to connect it up to where we did that wing. I think I might actually take the shimmery kind of cream shade, and I'm going to use my finger And I'm gonna pop that in the inner corner. Should really be using a brush, but I don't have one in front of me that's small enough. All right, and honestly, you guys, I think that's probably it. Let's see here. I might take just a little bit of this reddish kind of brown color. It's just one up from the transition shade, and I'm gonna go over right here where we put the majority of the original transition color, and just add, like, I literally barely tapped that color because we don't need a lot. And I was gonna add a little more of the topper shade. I'm gonna take just a bit of the white one and just add like the tiniest bit of that to the center of the lid, and I think that is gonna be it for the eyeshadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and I'll show you the final look. And this is the finished look. As always, I love this palette, so I'm never disappointed, and this is not that different from other looks I've done with the palette, but this is just kind of my signature thing with this Patrick Ta palette, and I love that I did use the cream shades today. I don't use them every time, but I do think they kind of amp up the eye look just a little bit. I think anytime you layer creams and powders together, same on your cheeks, you get more of a skin-like finish. You get just, I don't know, more dimension. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I will list and link everything that I used below. If you're curious, you can go down and shop through my links. If you do, please remember I do make a very small commission from the links, and I appreciate you so much if you shop through them. All of the money that I make from affiliates always goes right back into my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for supporting me. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I hope you'll subscribe if you're new for more content from me, and go follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair. I will see you guys tomorrow for day 8 in my 12 days of palettes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Remember, simply be you.